you're sort of expecting to find this stuff.
No,
but
you're not expecting to find that. You're expecting to find bones and shit.
I guess, but yeah, I mean, this is, for those of you that see the picture or know what I'm talking about, this is a creepy fucking one because it's a mom or a dad. I don't know
But
if
it's
a
got
dad,
a kid in it, so yeah, it's fucking
a kid,
creepy.
and the kid is much more preserved. Looking at the picture, the kid is much more preserved than the adult is. So it's just a creepy fucking thing.
Where was that one from?
Umanak Forgda in northwestern Greenland. That's why I can't fucking pronounce it because it's all consonants. But that's a creepy one. And I do see like all of these mummies or mummy like exhibits and stuff. They're all in Britain. Like the museums over there have to be fucking baller because they have a lot of cool stuff over there. We got the Smithsonian where you can go see like Lincoln's chair, but we don't have any fucking mummies.
So you think they should have mummified Lincoln and put him in the chair?
That would have been cool. Yeah, let's dig up Lincoln and see what he looks like. I think that's see what he looks like now because that would be probably just skin and bones, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he was preserved, right? So
let me ask you this, and this isn't a famous mummy, but I'm going to throw a conspiracy theory at you about mummies. Are you ready?
Sure.
Do you think that a mummy sunk the Titanic?
Like a curse?
Yes, like a curse.
So no, we've already established that no, I don't believe that.
So apparently there was this famous mummy board, which is obviously like a board of what the mummy was buried on, or laying on when it was entombed, and again in a British museum, and then supposedly that this was of course cursed, and when the museum got it, the staff would hear like banging coming from the artifact, coming from the board. They would see all this weird stuff in the museum and hear all this weird stuff.
That's how it always begins in the movies.
Yeah,
man.
of course. So they wanted to fucking get rid of it, right? So they sell it to this American archaeologist, who then apparently takes it on the American-bound ship, which is, as we know it, the Titanic. And some people speculate that if that board was not on board of the Titanic, then the Titanic would not have sunk. So that is the reason that the Titanic sank.
The mummy itself wasn't on board. It was wasn't.
It was just
on
the
the
board.
ship. It was just
Correct.
the board.
It was just the board of the mummy. The mummy board is what it's called, I guess,
That's
in
pretty
technical
weak.
terms.
It's pretty weak.
Hey, I don't make up the story. I'm just telling you that we now can say that the Titanic maybe didn't hit an iceberg, and maybe that a mummy board sank it.
You believe that one?
No, come on. The fucking Titanic hit a fucking iceberg, and Jack sank to the bottom, and that's the end of the story.
But did that iceberg have Iceman in it? Because then a mummy really did sink it.
Maybe. I mean, this it looks like we're going down a rabbit hole here.
So another famous mummy, another really well preserved mummy, is Vladimir Lenin.
Ooh.
You know who he is, right?
Of course.
He was a
Ruski.
Yep, Russian, very famous revolutionary political figure in the 20th century, Russia. Architect and first head of the USSR. And basically he's still on display. I mean, he's beloved in Russia, or at least he was. So yeah, I mean, the pictures of him are really creepy because he still looks like.
Well, that wasn't that long ago. That's why. I mean, give that motherfucker 150 more years.
Yeah, but
he'll look like a.
I mean, still,
like he died of a stroke.
It's much longer than a body normally takes to decompose. So
yeah, but is he embalmed or anything?
Yeah, they used a very complex method of embalming. They actually invented it to preserve him because they loved him so much. They wanted him to live on forever and ever.
They probably plan on like bringing him. Like it's so sophisticated embalming that they can probably just like inject him with some sort of DNA or like electrocute him and bring him back like Frankenstein.
I mean, that seems probable.
The Russians are weird, man. They come up with all that weird shit for random ass reasons. Like we really like this guy. Let's create a brand new way of embalming somebody and keep him for eternity out in the open so everybody can watch him. It's very strange. So what you know about King Ramesses?
Ramses?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
The third, not the first or the second.
Oh,
the third.
Most of my knowledge is about the first and the second.
That's what I figured. This is the undercover king. But it's not a very good story. But one of the things that when they yeah, let me caveat this cool
Thanks.
story I'm about to tell with this is not a very good story.
Just turn off
But,
the podcast right now.
I mean, well, it's not a 2-year-old kid that looks at you. It's not a 2-year-old mummified kid that looks at you. But it's a murder mystery. His mummy is pretty much opened up the books for a good old fashioned murder mystery. So when he opened up his tomb, one of the CT scans revealed that he had a deep cut, like an OJ style, like Nicole Brown cut on his neck. It was basically 2.5 inches in length, going almost all the way down to his spine. So basically, it almost decapitated him, and that was a really bad and insensitive Nicole Brown OJ joke. But I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna run with it. But yeah, and nobody knows who fucking killed him. Nobody knows why his head wasn't removed. I mean, it was basically just hanging by nerve endings, basically. Many people say that it may have been his sons that committed this murder, but jury's still out, so nobody knows. This was a very old murder mystery based off of a mummy.
I mean, I guess that mummification would probably make like getting the brains out easier. You don't have to worry about fucking up the head.
Well, maybe, but I think it was a murder. The sons did it in the ballroom with a wrench.
They definitively were able to say that these injuries happened as like the cause of death and not like post-mortem, just like a huge mummification accident.
No. I don't think they've gone. This isn't fucking CSI. I mean, I don't think they've gone into that much research. I'm just, they know that his fucking head was almost chopped off. So I'm assuming that. I mean, it definitely, if you're mummifying somebody, I guess you have 40 days to not wrap them up. So maybe I don't know. Let's not speculate as to how this fucking happened. I was just saying that his head's almost fucking chopped off. He's a mummy. Nobody knows why it's almost chopped off. So, and right there.
Have you heard of the children of Lulacayo?
Oh no, I don't want. Why do we have to talk about the children ones?
Because these ones are creepy. This is a Halloween episode. It's supposed to be creepy. The children
I don't
are
like
creepy.
it though.
The children mummies are creepy.
Okay. Yeah, well, normal children are creepy from life until death until mummification.
Do you know this one?
No, I don't know this one.
Oh, okay. So you got to look at the pictures of this one too. But
okay.
Basically, there's these 3 kids from the Inca civilization, so the 1500s. Incas were obviously really fucking interesting, but basically these 3 kids died on a volcano, and the oldest one was around 15. And these 3 kids, due to the mummies, they could show that they were drugged with coca leaves and chicha beer, and they were left to die up on this volcano, and they froze to death, essentially. And they are pretty well preserved.
How do you freeze to death on a fucking volcano?
Inactive volcano. It's cold as shit up at the top of the mountain. And
all right, I'll allow it.
So basically, they were believed to have been a eventual sacrifice to the gods, is why they were kind of left up there. And they are really well preserved, at least, especially this one, the oldest one, the girl, that looks like she just fell asleep. And when they found them, they actually had a lot of their internal organs intact, and one of the hearts contained frozen blood. And they're really creepy. And the girl again is really well preserved, and it's ugh.
Do you think they can bring the heart back to life? Since it's got blood in it, they slowly massage it back to life and warm it up a little bit. Well, there was and this is sort of off topic a little bit, but there was that lady that, and this is an older story too. There was this lady that I'm going to paraphrase this whole story, but there's this lady that crashed on the side of the road, and in like Wisconsin or Minnesota, somewhere that's really fucking cold in the wintertime. And she basically couldn't make it to the house that was there to make a call or whatnot. So she froze to death, and she froze, and she was basically frozen for like 16 hours or something, some random time frame. But the EMTs came, or whoever the hell came and picked her up, and they basically they found a smidge of a pulse, and she basically slowly thawed and came back to life. But she was frozen for like 16 hours or something.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, that's like a really short version of cryogenically freezing.
Yeah, I mean, and it seemingly worked. Although I think the whole purpose of cryogenically freezing you is to come back into the future, like 100 years. Where this lady came back like 16 hours later.
Like Futurama. That's why I said it's a short version, really short version.
Yeah,
Proof of concept.
yeah,
It's a proof of concept.
yeah, that's true. She was just testing out the. And one of the, speaking of that, do you know how chicha beer is made?
No.
So, and I don't want to go into the whole story of it, but again, Dogfish Head made a chicha beer. I don't know why all of my beer stories revolve around Dogfish Head, but you start by basically chewing up corn and then spitting it back in, and then that's what ferments to make the beer. So like the Incas would like chew up corn and then spit it back out, and then that would start the fermentation process, and then you would eventually drink it, and it would make a beer. But
that sounds
it's
disgusting.
Got to be fucking gross beer too. But
speaking of chewing up corn and shit, have you ever heard of these?
It's a weird segue.
Soku Shinbutsu mummies?
No.
No.
Is it Japanese mummies?
Yes, they are another fucking creepy one. They're not kid related, but they're still fucking creepy. Basically, the Soku Shinbutsu were these Buddhist monks that had this practice of self-mummification.
Oh, no, I fucking have heard of this, Adam.
Oh my god, dude. I
didn't know that's what it was called.
This is fucking just, oh my god. So basically, they would eat primarily like pine needles, seeds, and resins to lose their fat store like over the course of like 10 years and reduce their intake of liquids to dehydrate. And meanwhile, they would just do all this meditation and shit. And essentially, they self-mummify themselves. And, they just keep eating all of these nothing, basically, reducing their water intake. And they just get so dehydrated, they just die, and they're preserved. And it's just insane. Like, it's just crazy.
They basically go into these little glass huts, and you can go in Japan. I'm assuming it's in Japan still, but you can go into these places and like look at the. I'm maybe not us because we're not monks, but they're basically like in glass houses, and you can like they go and sit there and they meditate, and then they slowly just fucking die, and they continue to dry out. It's an amazing thing, and there's pictures of that too. Where
those
like
are fucking creepy guys too.
Well, it's creepy, but they are like those guys. Those monks are regarded as Buddhas. Like that. That's how like highly regarded that process is of what they're doing. Is like they are the highest standard of monk.
For sure, they believed what they were doing. They didn't view it as suicide. It was like a form of enlightenment. So yeah, I
mean, one day those motherfuckers are gonna come back to life. Like all we got to do is like put them out in the rain for like a half hour, and like the fucking like rehydrate those guys, and then they're coming back to life.
They're just freeze dried, and you just got to put a little water on them, and poof,
they're gonna just be like that was the longest meditation of all time. That was that's and I did see that, and I saw the pictures of that, and it's really creepy.
Some of those guys are terrifying looking.
Yeah, well, I think Buddhist monks are kind of terrifying looking, and those are the same guys that like they light themselves on fire, and like they are like the undercover badasses, man. Like Buddhist monks are like the most like testicular fortitude guys of all time, I think. And lady, I don't know if you can be a lady, but if there are ladies and ladies. What about the Yukok mummy? You know anything about this bitch?
No, is it creepy?
No, it's not creepy. It's I'm a big fan of tattoos. You know I'm a big fan of tattoos. This lady died more than 2,500 years ago. And basically she's not a very good mummy at all. Like she's basically like a little bit of skin with mostly bone. So thank you for that quiz earlier of the difference between a mummy and bones.
So she's just barely on the mummy side.
Yeah, I mean she's barely on the mummy side, but the skin that exists, it's basically on her arms. It's filled with tattoos. Like all of her tattoos are still there from when she was alive, and I just think that's like the coolest fucking thing. But she had like a full arm sleeve.
Does she have like a barbed wire? And like
she had and tribal tats. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you look at her arm, it's covered in tattoos. I just thought that was pretty.
That was a pretty weak mummy. You talked about a mummy with like a little scrap of skin. Come on.
Well, yeah, but the scraps of skin that exist have tattoos all over them, and her tattoos have existed for 2,500 years. I